All right, let's talk about this week's case study, and I believe it's the final episode. Kind of left us off on a little bit of a cliffhanger, so that's wonderful. There's quite a few things I want to talk about. I'm sure really going to talk about what everyone else is talking about. But the first thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about the interview. So finally, the producer was able to interview Fred, and then like the producer narrator or whatever was finally able to interview Fred. Which I thought was really interesting, and he said he didn't kill her. That's something I want to talk about. And how they even said it's almost like he forgot, which I thought was kind of interesting. But at first I was like, she's just a psycho. He's covering his ass, you know. And then the ending happened, and I don't know what to believe. But so he brought up towards the end of that segment, he brought up how when he was in the interview with one of the police people, he said he didn't do it, and then that he might have, or no, he said he did not do it, but then he was like, maybe he forgot he did it, which I thought was weird, but then he did kind of bring up a good point. He was like, he wasn't going to let me out of there if I didn't admit to it. So there's that, and then they also interviewed Fred's wife, and Fred's wife was just like, no, he didn't do it, you know. One of the police people came to her door, and it was like, you need to come in for an interview, blah, 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 and I kept bringing up blackouts, so to say. But then, and I think it was last episode, the wife even said he had blackouts too. But then in this interview, she was like, they're not blackouts, they're flashbacks. So there's just a ton of unreliableness, I feel like, and a ton of jumps almost, like people looping in and out of things, sort of, which causes it to, kind of be hard to follow and understand. So that was pretty interesting. Excuse me, I'm sick. And then he got a call to come in. I forget who called him. I forgot to write it down. But they kind of come in for an investigation, and he didn't get a lawyer right away. And then the narrator was like, well, why didn't you? And he was just like, well, I didn't think they were out to hang me, or I didn't think they were out to get me. And he thought he was going to help them, which I thought was weird. Almost, if they call you saying, you got to come in for investigation, you're getting investigated for something. You're not going to help. You know what I mean? You're a suspect. They have their eye on you, They're the finger on your pulse. And he went into there, and then he was told he's being arrested. He called his wife, blah, 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 blah. And then another major thing, there's two more major things I want to talk about, and that's going to be a lot bigger, was Larry. We heard about Larry before, and Larry's brought up at the end. He died in prison, I think, for sexual assault charges. He was known to be this troublemaker guy. They said that he most likely was the one to set it on fire, Shelly's house on fire, and he was also known for breaking into women's apartments to, do things, which is freaking terrible and evil. So we have that, and that, I was like sitting here, I was watching it on my little iPad over here, and I was just like, oh, that's interesting. It kind of blew me away, because I remember we brought it up because Larry's original lawyer brought up Larry, and at first I thought it was just an alibi. I think it might still be. I don't really know what to believe anymore. I'm gonna be straight up honest. I don't really know what to believe. But that all happened, and then the narrator ended with, everyone was an unreliable narrator, and whoever did it got away with the murder of Shelly. I thought I don't know if it's Fred or not. I don't know if it's Larry. I don't know if it's some random other dude. After this episode, I did do research because I was curious. 'Cause I was like, you're not gonna let me off on a cliffhanger. I found nothing. The case is still cold to this day. No one knows, and there's a significant. There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of evidence that's pointing to Fred, but there's also a lot of evidence that's pointing to someone else, and there's a lot of evidence that's pointing to neither of them. So, I don't know if it was a situation where these two guys, you had Larry and Fred, and they both just got roped into it, or what. But Larry's dead, and Ben dead. I don't know if Fred's dead now. I think at the time when the interview he was 73, so he probably is dead. If not, he's nearing being dead. But I just thought that was crazy. You know, they ended it on a cliffhanger. We still don't really know who it is for sure, and if you know from the research I did, I was just did a small quick Google search. They still don't know, and that's sad. You know, that sucks. I don't know who to believe, if I'm gonna be honest. There's so much evidence, and I believe everyone's an unreliable narrator, and even the narrator admitted to being an unreliable narrator in her own life. And you know, you have, for an example, the Christmas card sent to Shelly's roommate said to get out of town. No, it didn't. Nope. You know, people create these things in their head to escape from something, and then it's not true. So, I don't know who did it. I really don't. I'm a little ashamed that I don't know because I was excited to figure out who it was. But we're never going to know. So, that sucks. But, no, this was a really fun video to watch. It really kept me intrigued, and as you can tell, I have a lot of emotion for these things. So yeah, well, thank you, and yeah, it was fun.